Now what I'm going to do, I'm going to show you how I made this without using any music theory. I didn't have any music theory in mind. So that's what we're working on today. I'm going to show you how to make these types of melodies without music theory. So the foundation of all of this is this melody right here. Let's play it. So I'm going to break down how I made this. So this is the thing about the first chord that I was going to lay down. I had to figure out what it was going to be. And this is what I said. I'm going to, number one, stagger out the notes, kind of an arpeggio. So that's number one. And number two, I'm going to find the notes that sound good. So what I did, I knew I put the first one in the lower octave. That note right there. I'm going to go an octave higher and lay the notes in a higher octave as far as the ones that follow. So what you do, you lay a note down, you play it. That's kind of dissonant, that could work. Now once you have this, I know I'm going to have an uneasy chord. So what is going to make this sound better? Well, nope, that's not going to work. So that sounds good, but it still sounds dissonant. What I thought in my head is, yo, I'm just going to make it resolve on the next chord. I'm going to make it sound good. So after I staggered these out, this is what I had. Now with that, I'm not thinking about a scale. I'm not thinking about anything like that. I'm like, this is the point that you have to look at. And this is the key tip that I was going to say. You know, I could show you a bunch of things and how to do a bunch of things with the notes, but you have to have the ear and you have to know what sounds good to you and you have to seek what sounds good to you. If you're not going to use music theory, that's what happens. You hear certain things and they come to you, or you search around and click things in and see how it fits and see if it works. Those are the main two ways I go about it when I'm not making music with any type of music theory and I'm just going. So when I listen to this, my next thought was lower. So we focus on the bass notes after that. So if you go from here, that just sounds good when you go from that to that. So I did the same thing. I said, you let me find the notes that'll go with it. So from there, I went down a few notes. How about I go down something like that? Let's see how that sounds. Sounds pretty good. Let's find a note above that. That might sound good. Let's listen to it. So now we have that, but you could play around with the notes. You could. And that's what I actually did. You don't have to stay set in that set of notes that you pick. You can move it around and see if another note actually fits a lot better. So once I had that, in a lot of R&B chord progressions, you could basically just stick to two chords. This is what I decided to do. Once I did that, I kind of heard the chord progression in my head. And it's going to go by the bass note. So what I heard in my head was that bass note right there coming after that. So let's listen to that very quickly. And now with this, I said, okay, before I even try and figure that chord out, we basically have this laid out. So let me figure out where to go and end this chord progression after that. So what did I do? I actually heard in my head the two ways that it could go. It could either go up or down. So let me figure out the way it can go down. I heard it do, do. So that's what I ended up doing. But before that, I thought do, do. So let's do that real quick. So it could have did that. So let's listen to both. So once you get that, now I know where I'm going. I know where I'm going. The only objective that we have after that is to put notes above it and make it sound silky and things of that nature. So being that I'm using a guitar, that's a great instrument for R&B, and we already got the arpeggio pattern laid out. Let's just continue to follow that. So I find 2 other notes, and what do I do after I find those notes? I listen. And what I said to myself is, hey, I could still put those same 2 notes over that last chord. So let's play that very quickly. So there are a few things that I want you to take from this. The first thing is, as far as the root notes or the bass notes of the chords, those are the most important because they're going to determine the direction that you're going to go in as far as the melody. So you could choose to figure those out immediately, or you could figure them out as you go. The second thing is, it's the same with the notes above those bottom notes. They don't have to be traditional chords. You can figure them out just by putting them in and seeing what sounds good. So you could just put them in and see what sounds good. Now, this is the third thing when it comes to not using music theory and things of that nature that is very important, that a lot of people don't preach because it's hard to teach and you can't really teach it. And what it is you have to have the ear, and you have to go with what sounds good, and you also have to hear things in your head as you go along. That's what it is. If you listen to a lot of music, subconsciously, that'll give you a good Rolodex of things to go to as far as, okay, I should go to this note or I should go to this note. That's what it is if you listen to a lot of music. And also, when you're plugging things in, once it sounds good, if you have the ear, you're going to know it sounds good when you put it in. Let's go with that. Now, if you don't have the ear, that's when things get difficult. If you can't tell when things are on key or off key, just because, you know, just how it sounds and stuff like that, that's when you absolutely need music theory, and you need that to lock you in. But even then, if you don't plan on learning music theory or anything like that, what you can use is scale helpers or anything that locks you into a scale. Once I had something good, I moved on. And the way that this melody was made was by me plugging in notes, by me thinking where this should go as far as hearing it in my head, and then plugging that in. And that's basically it. Those 2 things, just either exploring by putting in notes or hearing where it should go and putting that in. So basically, as far as this foundational melody, it was made through 2 things. It was made through 1, plugging in notes and trying to find things that sound good. B, or 2, also hearing things in my head as far as where it should go and plugging those things in. You may wonder, how did I figure out these silky chords? I figured them out the same exact way. We don't even have to go through it, but we already had a foundation. All I had to do was, number 1, match some of the notes that I already had, and 2, throw in some extra notes. That's it. Just figure out what sounds good. Now what we have here is the accent from Producer Grind. All I did was put a delay on it and put a bandpass filter on it to kind of like give it a phone effect, so it's not doing too much, but you hear it. You know, it's more felt than heard. Listen to it real quick. When it comes to this lead, it's kind of the same concept as far as everything else. When we get to the bass, it's very simple. All it is a loop that follows the bass notes, and it's a bass guitar. So with that, that's the video for today. I basically went over my process as far as making music without thinking about music theory at all. Let me know your thoughts. Hopefully it was helpful. If not, and if you feel you need to know music theory and things like that, go and visit my playlist where I teach all types of music theory. Check my channel. But other than that, I'll see y'all another day. Somehow, some way, I'm out.